All right, this is what will probably be part one of installing the preload adjuster. So, one of the great banes of my existence, doing a lot of coaching, I'm constantly checking SAG for customer student bikes. So I've numerous times skinned my knuckles trying to rotate that little adjuster right there on sport bikes. So when I found out that this thing was available, I could not wait to fit one to my own bike. So I finally got one. So what we're going to do today is pull the shock out, pull the shaft out of the shock, put the spring preload adjuster on, and then reassemble the shock. So it's actually pretty simple. It does require a few special tools because you have to release the pressure in this reservoir, which is usually around 150 psi, and you have to get a special nut, one of these. When you reassemble, the stock reservoir is sealed by a solid steel nut. The factory uses a big tool to clamp, pressurize, and then tighten the nut. Whereas this one, it's self-sealing. It has a rubber center, so you can stick a needle through there, pressurize it, and then pull the needle out and it stays pressurized. Anyway, so yeah, there are a few special tools needed, but the process is actually very simple. So we will take a look at that right now. So actually, yeah, the first step, I will remove this rear fender. Okay, let's see what else we need to do. We can, yes. So I pulled out some of these tools in preparation to speed up the process a little. Pretty simple process. I've done this on a number of other customer bikes before, so it's been a while though. I'm pretty sure I remember the process though. And in addition, once I've got this done, I'll pull this thing off the table, and then the next project is the kickstand. I bought this aftermarket kickstand, but it's too long. It goes right there, so I will cut it down right where I marked it, and then weld that foot back on so that it works for the lowered ride height of the Supermoto model. Okay. Oh yes, that was already loose. Okay. Okay, shock is out. Oh, that was easy. Okay, so I've already done this a couple times, so as I mentioned, it's not difficult. Oh, okay. All right, that was easy. Now we've got this down. So now there's a circlip under this little collet right here. We can just literally wind the spring preload down. It's quite amazing. The forces involved in these ones are so much smaller, lower than the sport bike crowd. Okay, there we go. Easy. There's the circlip. Just a fingernail will get that off. There we go. There's the washer. And now comes the spring. And I did check my sag on this machine, and I was just within the spec for the rear. For that spring, I am within the right weight range, but for the front, I'm not. That's why I got that. That's the metal spring kit for the AER fork. So actually, I may be able to get to the track this weekend. I'll do a day at the superkart track, and then I'll have a baseline. Then I can make the suspension change to the front fork and the bladder kit, which is over there too, and see the comparison. Okay. Now, that shock is full of all that fluid. So this is now empty. The piston in here is what moves up and down, but there's a lot of stiction behind that. You can just feel it when you try to move it. And that's why the bladder kit seems to me like a good idea, because the bladder has no stiction. There's no resistance whatsoever to that bladder squishing in and out, whereas the piston doesn't. It resists initial movement. Once it's moving, it moves fine, but it resists. So I'm looking forward to the comparison between the bladder and the piston. Okay, so this is full of fluid, so what I might do is drain that out. Oh. That was awfully loose. Okay. There we go. So I'll drain this WP fluid. I've got plenty of Ohl's fluid left over from my last Aprilia shock rebuild. And interestingly, that whiteness, that's bubbles, that's cavitation. That's what happens when the oil is forced through small orifices too quickly. And of course that does happen while you're riding. You can avoid the cavitation and the formation of those bubbles and that frothing by pressurizing this section here. Simple as that. Okay. Ooh, that was good timing. Okay, that was easy. Need a little tiny screwdriver. All right. Shit. Okay. So that resistance to motion and then the sudden slip, that's the stiction. Damn it. That I'm keen to remove with the bladder kit. Okay, so there's the shock body removed. Just in case there's the compression stack is there. The oil flows through here, and as the shock pulls back up in rebound, these shims will deflect. So if you make these shims thicker, then it moves back up more slowly. If you make these shims thicker, it compresses more slowly. And where did I put that thing? Okay, so you've got to get this one off. Still leaking everywhere. And this is exactly why I want to install that thing. On my older Supermoto, the preload adjuster, after going Supermoto, dirt track, Supermoto, dirt track, was just butchered beyond belief. So I was luckily able to rebuild that thing, including the suspension and the engine. I rebuilt that thing down to the frame. Had the frame powder coated, New piston, new cylinder, every single bearing, every seal, every O-ring. The only part I was not able to replace that I wanted to replace was the subframe. When I was at the KTM headquarters in Ohio, they said, while you're here, do you have any parts you want to get? And I said, yes. Subframe from an 02 520. And they said, sure thing. So they looked, we were in the parts warehouse. So they looked up the part number and looked at it and said, you're not going to believe this. And I said, don't tell me. And they said, yep. It's one of the guy I was speaking to was so embarrassed because he had boasted that every part was available for every bike. And he said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We don't have one. So I said, oh well, can't be helped. Okay. There we go. So we're going to put it in upside down. Now that's an 8mm. It's not an 8mm. Let's see. Wow, no difference. Okay. You know what? I can't charge this yet. I still am waiting for my pressure gauge for my shock charging tool. Okay. Was that a full one? Oh, they've both been opened. Okay, we will put this back in. And I've been looking into building a vacuum charging tool. I have a vacuum pump from making carbon foot peg brackets actually. But I haven't really spent enough time to make a shock bleeding and filling tool, so we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. So we'll just make sure that there's no dirt on it, and no lint either for that matter. I think that's the lowering spacer right there. I'm not sure, but I think. Could be wrong. Like I said, it's been a while since I did this on a pure off-road version. Okay, so for anyone who's wondering, the reservoir is needed because the amount of space taken up inside the shock body changes. So for example, the piston head is just coming into the fluid now, and the fluid passing through those washers is what creates the damping effect. But the further down the valve goes, the more of this shaft is in here. So the shaft itself is displacing oil, and the oil's got to go somewhere, so that's what the reservoir is for. The displaced fluid here moves into here. That's that stiction again. It'll get you every time. Okay, so we're just going to try to very carefully push that down. So now what's actually happening is we're pushing fluid into the shock body and it's pumping into here. I can feel and hear air coming out of here. So that piston is being pushed up when I push down on this seal. But the way we've done it is a good way of preventing air from being caught in here. Okay. Not bad. I cannot feel any air bubbles. When there's an air bubble in there, it moves up and down through the air and then hits the fluid and then moves slowly. And I cannot feel that. Okay, not bad. This little seal here is moving a fraction, again, because of the stiction on the seal right here. All right, so we'll cut that zip tie off. So there it is. Being very careful not to nick the shaft. Oh, there, almost. Here we go. All right. Now, got the washer here. Yeah, I have my regulator for my high pressure inert gas hasn't arrived yet. It's due here tomorrow. So what we'll do for now, we'll just put this one back in just to keep track of it. Then the spring. Yep, washer. Aha, here we go. Watch this. And then look at that. Look at that. So fancy. Yeah, we spilled a little bit of oil, but it's not too bad. You can't make an omelette without cracking a few eggs. yes, the interesting thing will be readjusting the sag. All right, let's see. Not too bad considering how long it's been since I did this job. Let's hope I did it right. Bang, crash. Come on. One or the other, up or down, makes it go in easier. So close. Come on, you can do it. What is it caught on? Oh, it's caught on the adjuster. It's supposed to just slip right back in. Well, I don't want to have to pull the pipe off to get it back in, but I might have to. Oh, there we go. Good. Okay. So let's see what else has to be done. I'm gonna have to. Oh, I can't get the needle in there. Damn it! I can't get the needle into here. Oh well. Well, at least it's been an exercise in remembering. So I'll reassemble everything, and then when the regulator comes in tomorrow, I'll drop the shock back out. As you can see, it's a really simple, really easy job. Might do. Could easily say it's less than an hour. Easily less than an hour. Okay. And then to adjust that preload, there we go. So we had not enough sag. And if we had too much sag, there we go. How easy is that? My God, what a difference. And how different is it with the rear end weighted? Okay, let's bring preload remove. The ratchet doesn't like it. Let's see if the drill can handle it. Okay, yeah, preload to remove. You can really see the ride height just falling down. And then to increase the preload, there we go, what a difference. And then of course any combination therein. Okay, so yeah, I can feel that this hasn't been pressurized. So need to do that. And then, so I'll charge this up with 150 psi using this thing. So here's the needle. I think I pointed that out earlier. The needle goes into the rubber bolt. Actually, that rubber bolt. The rubber inside here is self-sealing. Charge that up 150 psi with this, but I needed a new regulator to plug into here to make sure I don't get too much. I don't want to force that bottle's at 2000 psi, so I don't want to charge or force that through here, so I've got to get a new regulator, which will be here tomorrow according to Amazon. Okay, so I'll do that tomorrow. And then I will use, this is a great little toy for setting sag. There you go, you can actually see on this side, just sits on there with a magnet and connected up here somehow. The stock bodywork has a mark right here saying sag, and then it measures how much sag you have, and it even shows you on your little remote unit, so you don't have to have a bunch of friends. Okay, so 25 to, I believe it's 25 to 30% for supermoto. For motocross and off-road, it's more like 35%, but yeah, 25 to 30% for sport bikes and asphalt racing supermotos. And I know the full suspension travel for this thing because it's available in the spec sheet. Yeah, I checked. I tested the rear sag. It was good within the range with this stock spring. The sag for this one was too soft, but there's no way to increase the preload on this. Only the pressure in the fork, which is like fitting a stronger spring, but it doesn't allow you to adjust the stroke. You want to have the right sag, because if you're under heavy braking and you don't have enough sag, under heavy braking, the rear tire is more likely to lift up off the ground. And when you're accelerating, if you have too much sag, then the rear will sink down as you're accelerating. And that means that instead of driving forward with too much sag, you're more likely to lift the front end. If you've got the right sag, then you'll get better drive out of corners and better traction, stability coming into corners, among other things. Okay, so that's all for now. We've removed this. We've got new fluid in there. Still looking forward to installing this bladder. Will go right in there after I've done that first track day. And these, I haven't even opened this. Let's take a look. Okay. All right. Oh, nice, the tool. And they sent me the right spring for my weight and my riding style. So I specifically said expert level supermoto, expert level track day rider. Interesting. That looks like it's a shaft holder. So pretty. And then there. Okay, so yeah, there's the spacer. Beautiful. That's the hold tool. So I will be installing this. Oh, look at that. That's the preload adjuster, because all the damping is done on this fork leg, and the spring is done on this fork leg on the left. Okay. Very nice. Okay, so we'll read the instructions on how to install this and take care of that. After the first day on the track, I wonder. And then I'll be able to compare the lap times after the suspension upgrade. Ooh, look at that. That's the first piece of carbon fiber I ever vacuum bagged back in college in the 90s. Yep. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and we will have more later. So I will also be getting some video this weekend of this thing on the kart track. Looking forward to that. So more to come. Thanks for watching. Bye.